The eagle has landed. Hi, my name's Charlie Corvan. Welcome to Mordor Gun Dogs. I'm very excited to be joined by Barry and Roxanne with their golden eagle, who's called Stanley, the golden eagle, and also your German Wirehaird pointer, who you've been up working with Ash. So you've been coming up and having some lessons with Ash with your older. Is he a GW Pisa? Yep. Just to help kind of with steadiness and training over birds and stuff. And these guys are elite falconry, and we've done quite a lot of work, like not work with you guys, but we've done quite a lot of demos in the same place. You guys are kind of, in my view, we're getting lynched, but the kind of only people in Scotland who are really worth getting to an event, because most of the people I've ever dealt with and watched, they come up with their bird, and 5 minutes in they're like, oh, and that bird's blown away, we're gonna have to go and find it. So they are elite by name and by nature, in terms of they do an awesome job. So we've done demos at the same place as you guys for like, I don't know, like 10, 15 years, definitely. The game fair, various kind of private events and stuff as well. Looking forward to seeing this guy. I'm lucky enough that I've managed to see lots of these in the wild because of the kind of world that we live in and the places we go. Many a time out on a shoot. Have we come across one of these? Now he is pretty cool, isn't he?
He's a good lad, Stanley.
And how old is he?
21.
And what's their sort of when do they mature and you start hunting with them? When are they retired, sort of thing?
We use eagles. They're all bred in captivity, and we have an ethos whereby we won't take the young eagle from its parents. Bearing in mind it's bred in an aviary that are solid sides. It's called a daylight seclusion aviary. So the bird inside, the parents for themselves initially, and then the youngster when it grows up with its parents, raised by its parents in the complete absence of any kind of contact with humans. So we then take that young bird at the age its wild counterpart would be just going off into independence.
Okay.
So with the Goldie, somewhere between 7 and 9 months, something like that.
Okay.
But what we
that's basically when mum and dad kick him out.
Basically, yeah, bugger off, or we're gonna, chase you off. And at that point, what we've got is a domestically produced wild bird. Remember, it's never seen a human before, so its reactions to us are exactly the same as a bird that you're going to find in the Grampians or the Cairngorms or anywhere else.
Yep.
So you've then got this period of time through a process of manning to develop a trust and a relationship with the bird. So it's slowly, after a period of time, sorry, not house trained.
When you got to go, you got to go.
Over a period of time, they understand that, first of all, you're not a threat. But then ultimately that all of the good things in life happened with, near or around you. And that's where the loyalty comes from. And the big deal is having the confidence and the ability to make sure that you can allow the bird to fly in exactly the same way as its wild counterpart. So we can, doing something like this with a rabbit lure, it's quite good for the bird, gets him to chase something, makes him do a little bit of exercise, that's all good. But when we go up into the mountains with these guys, we'll find a windward facing hill. So if the wind was coming up, up the hill here, hopefully that hill is going to be 1,000 feet high, 50 mile an hour wind, blowing straight onto the hill. That creates a column of lift where the hill pushes the wind upwards. You release the eagle into it. He's going to shoot up there a couple of 1,000 feet, work above us, knowing that on the ground, us as the falconers, plus with the dog, with your assistance, with Finch and some of the older boys, that's going to flush game for it. And we hope to get that devastating vertical 140, 150 mile an hour stoop back down to try to catch forage. That's what it's all about. Awesome. So these guys are not the carry it around on the fist and chase something that you flush out of cover just 30 yards over there. These guys, we're aiming to fly them just like that.
Which is more like Harris Hawk kind of stuff, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Harris Hawk, you walk along with your spaniel, it hops from tree to tree, you flush a bird, boom, forgets it.
Which is great sport.
It's kind of amateur. It's also a bit, it's like kind of amateur. So my godfather, who helped me get into dogs and stuff. He always had dogs, and he got himself in his sort of latter years. He got himself a bird, and he was like, "This is what I was told to get." For like someone learning about it, they're the easiest to manage and stuff. Like you don't want like people like me and
you don't want to start
me and these guys kind of be able to just get hold of a golden eagle and go, "Oh, this would be fun."
That'd be a bad idea. But there's, don't get me wrong, Harris Hawks are absolutely brilliant. They're really loyal, and it is a good place to take your first steps into the world of falconry. But Harris Hawking done really well can be fantastic. It's really good sport with a really adaptable, loyal, effective, and efficient predator. They're brilliant. But there are lots of stages that you can move on to.
And from like our perspective, like that's quite a kind of good way to get into birds of prey in terms of having a nice little spaniel because they're close, because they would just hop from tree to tree,
they'll
right?
stay with you.
So if we were here, he would just be hopping the trees as we're hunting through here, and then when we got when we flushed a bird, he would then get on after it, which is kind of like a fun way. It's a bit, it's a fun way to work your spaniel without, doing something slightly differently. Whereas this is a completely different, like.
Yeah, we actually just had a massive win. So this is the first time it's probably been aired publicly. But 5 years ago, you're probably aware that the Scottish government moved mountain hares, these guys' traditional quarry, onto Schedule 5 of the Wildlife and Countryside Act. So there was no process or no framework within law that would allow us to hunt them anymore.
No.
Which is ridiculous for a golden eagle that's evolved cheek by jowl with them for the millennia. And last night in Parliament, a personal 5-year battle that I've had going on with government was successful, and falconry can now secure licenses to hunt mountain hares.
So you can go onto these grouse moors and hunt the hares, but the guys shooting them and the gamekeepers and stuff still can't touch them.
Exactly right. Yeah. So
okay, well, that's awesome, because it's natural. Like, it's totally, I can understand people who are like against shooting or whatever because it's their own prerogative.
Yeah.
And say, oh, you're they probably call me all sorts of names because I go and shoot, pheasants and stuff like that. But like telling this guy that he's not allowed to hunt what he was hunting long before we were getting in the bloody way.
Don't forget, that's all he's done for 21 years. You've taken a bird that's done nothing else for 21 years. It's like a thoroughbred racehorse. You can't say you're not allowed to race anymore. You've got to go and do dressage. You can't repurpose it. So it effectively grounded him. But now we're back on from next year, and I actually had a 2-year exemption license. So Stanley, for the last 2 years, has been able to carry that on anyway.
Awesome. But now it's going to be easier for you.
Now it's going to be much more fruitful.
And so just going back to the age, he's 21. Like, what's his?
Probably, if he stays fit, stays well, outside of accidents or issues,
power lines,
power lines, all sorts of things can cause a problem. Deer fences, all sorts can be a problem. But leaving those out, kept fit, kept flying throughout his life, kept in good shape, should make it into his early or mid-40s.
And what about the wild ones? Just the comparison, like, what does a wild golden eagle up in Glen Shee live till?
If a golden eagle in the wild in this country makes it into its early 20s, it's done bloody.
Oh, has it? Okay.
Really done well.
Yeah, because it's just tough up there.
Yeah, it's tough. And you think about it, Stanley hits a fence, gets a cut on his foot. Well, we deal with it.
You take him to the vet, you look after him.
Job done, doesn't turn into anything. That cut becomes an infection, and then he's joined by the wing that it hit when it was chasing a hare into the rocks, and all these other things that slowly erode away at the bird's overall condition, and eventually they can't hunt. Then it's done. It's
really interesting. I many years ago, I had the privilege of going to the Congo to hang out with the gorillas. About 15 years ago, and we just disappeared off down into the jungle, and it was quite interesting because right in front of us, the two silverbacks were literally where these guys were, dad and son, and they had the most almighty fight right there. And my wife, Antonia, was with me before we were married, and I was like, this is awesome, and she was like, holy crap, we're gonna die. And the guides, the locals, were like, no, they're not interested in you. They're just having a good old fight with each other. They're not interested in you unless you get in the way, and then they'll just get rid of you. But they're just doing their thing, and the noise and the power and these things. But the son came out with a really, really bad gash in his head.
Okay.
Really bad gash in his head. And I then spoke to them. I was like, oh my God, so what do you do? Do you do you go take them out? Do you look after them and stuff? He's like, we have to let nature be nature. He said, what we're trying to do is help them in their own environment, make sure people aren't trying to get involved. People aren't trying to kind of capture them or harm them or anything else. But he said, when they're doing it to each other, we have to leave them alone, because otherwise they lose the ability to fend themselves. And if you let this guy go into Glen Shee, he's done, isn't it? Probably.
Because of the way he's flown all his life, being allowed to fly naturally and normally, right on the edge of control, flying this way with it. You imagine that we're talking cloud height on a day like tonight. Yeah. You're right on the edge of control. That bird's making the choice to stay with you. But the reality is, because he's super fit, he's flown in these environments his whole life, every winter, for his whole life, he's spent that time up there. He actually doesn't need us for anything.
Okay, so he's got a better chance.
If he chooses to drift off, he will live a very happy life.
Yeah,
but if he picks up an injury, just like the wild birds and your gorilla, there's nobody that's going to go in there and pick it up and make it well again.
There's also been sort of stories in the past of people bringing like parkland deer, who essentially are like wild, but they're in a big poplar down in the south, and they take them up to
That's not going to go.
the Highlands to kind of bring in the gene pool, and the little sort of Scottish stags are like, get the hell out of my land, and they're dead within a week.
Yeah, that's not gonna go
because they're just, so as you say, so because you brought him up the way you have, he's actually got a good chance of still being a kind of wild.
Exactly. So raised by his own parents with no human interference at all.
Yeah, awesome.
So he's got
And
all of
did you breed him?
No, we didn't breed him. He actually came from Tallinn Zoo. Okay. He's an Estonian, so he doesn't understand a word we're saying.
Okay, perfect. I mean, no one understands much I say. Cool. Okay. So thank you very much for letting us film. That was fun. Hopefully this guy got a little bit out of it. I mean, we saw a bit of him quartering. We tried to keep out of the way, but we saw a bit of him quartering and going on to point, which all looked like it worked pretty well.
Yeah, it was all really good. We got the point. He didn't behave badly towards a bird, which is the main thing.
Yep.
So his first contact with an eagle really today, which we wanted to do here to make sure that if anything went wrong, we were in a place that could help us rectify it properly.
Yep, but no, he did well.
But he did really well, yeah, so we're pleased.
And we got to see we didn't get to see him going up. Stanley kind of knew what the drill was, didn't he? He was like, oh, I'm just going to swoop across the field and nail it.
I mean, without proper lift in a mountain to give him wind lift, he's never going to go high. You've got to give him a big hill for that. But he knew what to do, so that was fine.
Next time we'll go up the top of the hill there with the cows.
Yeah, no, that'd be good.
So thank you very much.
No problem.
Well, hopefully we'll see you again soon. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just something slightly different, but all the different ways dogs can be trained and used, for their sort of utilising their skills and obviously the eagle skills as well. Remember, you get out what you put in, and we'll see you all next time.